This is Kim, and I'm with Brian from Sunny Acre Farms, and he's come down to do an evaluation. So we've already done one evaluation on my male, and now he's going to do an evaluation for me on my female chicken. This is Mamasetta, and she was a year old at the end of March.
So again, a lot of the same stuff that we're looking at in the females is the same as the males. So holding them the same way, feeling that keel bone, making sure that's straight, measuring it for the length, just kind of using your hand and your fingers, then measuring the pin bone spacing. Hers is a good 3 fingers, and then the other direction, I mean, my whole hand fits inside of there. So she's really wide from that standpoint. I would suspect that she probably lays pretty good eggs and doesn't really have too many issues. One of the things too is an eye color that they look for. Hers are probably a little lighter. I didn't look at
his also are.
His are a little lighter. I know that the U.S. lines are notorious for having light eye color. It's just something that's inherently the birds that they brought over. That's what they have.
Yeah.
So again, something you're to look for in the future.
I don't have any with dark eyes.
Not something that's really gonna affect hardly anything. But if you're comparing 2 birds, that's something to use as an evaluator.
Yeah. Now, someone online asked if it was normal for them to have the blue beak, and I'm like, absolutely, that's what we want, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what the beak shade should be, but I would, just traditionally from a chicken standpoint, the darker legs, you're going to see the darker beaks. One thing too, again, with the females, their combs are supposed to flop. Again, this is a trait that I think that we're lacking a lot in. I have some hens that have nice, good, large combs that flop over, and then other ones that are small and straight.
Yeah, and while we're on that comb, the one thing about her is, and this is what I've heard, is see right here where her dip is, you really want the dip in the back. Is that correct?
So yes, so
okay.
when it folds, it should be about halfway up is when the fold should start to roll over.
Okay. So that's what we're working for in Mamasetta's babies then.
Yes, and her comb size is from a size standpoint is probably pretty good.
Okay.
What we would like to see is the actual points be a little shorter.
Okay.
And the blade be a little bit thicker.
All right.
And then that weight is going to naturally fold it over.
Okay.
Yeah, she kind of has that little fold at the top. We'd want that to be back a little bit, and that's going to just naturally give it that tendency to fold over.
So I want to pair her, if I'm looking to work on combs one year, I want to pair her with a rooster that has a thicker comb and maybe shorter points.
Yeah, I would look for a male that would have probably, like I said, her size is good, so you don't necessarily want her to be paired with a male with a huge comb. Okay. Because then the size just could kind of get out of whack.
Yeah.
But I have some that I see that are half this size. Yeah. So that's for sure. If you paired that one with a male that had a really big comb, you're kind of hoping to shrink the male. Yeah. And then increase the size of the female. Again, it doesn't just happen. Everyone's not gonna show up like that. But from a selection standpoint, that's what you're looking for when you do those matings.
Okay, so she's got good pin bone space.
She's got good spacing.
Spacing in the pelvic. Now let's talk about the breast.
She's got pretty good size in her chest, and this is something that I see throughout my line every year. It's something that I've been working for ever since I've had them. The females are way chunkier than what my males are. So they tendency to have that more full breast area than what the males do. From a size standpoint, obviously the males are still bigger. They're still going to produce more breast meat. Yeah. But it's spread out more over that whole breast and the keel area, where the females are more
going to the bathroom,
short and compact. Yeah. And they have more of it there.
Okay. Now we didn't really talk about his breast or his chest.
So I would say that his is probably a little small. And again, like I said, that is something that I have noticed, and it's something that I continuously try to work on, is to get that bigger size in the males. I think a lot of it comes from them being more long and kind of lanky, which spreads out that length of that breast, so then there's more surface area to put meat on.
Yeah.
Rather than being more of a compact size that you see in the hens.
And then what about his bottom here? I've heard like people talk about squirrel tail.
So squirrel tail would be where the back of the tail almost comes up and touches the back of the neck. So that's not something that I would say, he's not even close to being anything like that. His tail angle is probably a little bit high. I don't know, it's hard to tell right this second while he's walking around.
Yeah.
Our current standard says 45 degrees from the straight line of the back. Some of these older pictures that I've seen from Bresse from early 1900s that are from the European lines, they have tendency to have a lot higher tails than that.
Okay.
So I don't really know going forward from a breed standpoint where that happy medium should be.
Mm-hmm.
But his is maybe a tad high, but it's not something that's bad at all.
Okay.
From this side angle, basically what you want to look at is you want to see that chest coming down towards the feet in a straight line, and that tail coming down and making a nice good wide open V.
Okay.
You don't want it to be rounded off. You want it to be a
V.
nice straight V.
Okay.
So a lot of the times what you can do is you can get a good side picture of your birds, because sometimes it's hard to just visually see that when you're looking through. But if you can take a side picture of your bird, go onto your camera, and then draw on it and draw a line,
Mm-hmm.
then you can see that angle, and then you can draw a line on the back, draw a line on the tail, and then you can take another color and put a line to give you a nice 90-degree line.
Yeah, I've seen mandolin do that.
That way that you can kind of visually see where those things are at. Sometimes it's hard to do it when these birds are moving around, to know exactly where it's at.
Okay.
But if you take a good side picture where they're in a good stance, and then you can use a markup app on your phone, it's a lot easier to visualize those lines at that point rather than them walking around.
Okay. And I've heard mandolin talk about having that wide, nice, open bottom. I'm not really seeing a nice wide open bottom.
It's hard to
much
tell
here.
with him because he's missing a lot of feathers.
Yeah.
Typically, you want to see kind of a V shape as well.
Okay.
On your tail feathers, basically around where the pin bones would be. You want that to be wide and then going up and tight up into the top of the tail.
And we did talk about how he's only got one space in there. So, alrighty. Well, let's go look at another one. We'll put Mamasetta away. We'll see you in the next video.